Hey, I'm back. This is Chandler for Melda Production, and today I'm going to show you how you can take your guitar and make it sound like a bass. So I'm a guitar player, I don't really play bass, and I don't even have a bass, but sometimes I need a bass sound. Of course, there's all sorts of VSTs and things you can do to get that sound now, but sometimes it's better just to get a real bass sound that sounds like somebody played it, etc. So I'm going to show you how you can do that today. So I have a guitar part recorded here, I'll let you listen to it. Okay, so you can debate on whether that actually sounds like a real bass part or not, but what we're going to do is we're going to use that and try to make that sound more like an actual bass. So we're just going to go in here, and what we're going to use is MHarmonizerMB. So here we go, MHarmonizerMB. Have that there. So I had this on the track. We could use this, but I actually want to go in and look in the edit screen here. I'll just set this on one band. I don't need the other bands for this. This is very simple. Now what I want to do is I want to set this to the vocoder high quality. Now keep in mind this is going to create latency, so for this you're going to need to record your part beforehand, not like try to do it in real time, because there's going to be some latency. It's going to be difficult. So if we just put it through here like this, we're getting the exact same sound, there's no difference. What we want to do now is drop the octave. That's kind of fairly obvious. So it sounds like this. Okay, so I brought the volume up just a little bit. Try to match this, maybe a little bit louder now. But you get the idea. Now, that's kind of okay, but it still doesn't sound exactly like what I want. It sounds a little bit too dark. Now, the way we can make this a little bit less dark is using the formant shift. Now, for me, I think between maybe like 3 and 7 is good. Let's set this around like 5 here. Actually, as it's going, I'll move it up so you can hear what it's doing. Okay, I'll turn it on and off. Okay, so I think that's sounding better. Do I need to turn this up more? And so if you want it a little bit, I guess it's shifting the format, which isn't really making it brighter, but you get the idea. It makes it sound more like actual bass would, at least in my opinion. And of course, every bass might have a different format, so you can set this to taste. I have this set at around 5, but sometimes you think, oh, I kind of want like a darker bass sound, so I'll set it at 3, or I might set it at, let's say, 7 or something. Also, it will depend on which pickup you use to record this. I think I use the bridge, not the bridge, I think I use the neck pickup for this, or maybe the second position. I'm not sure, but set this to your own taste. If you still want to make it brighter, the actual brightness will probably be here in the sharpness. If I turn this up to 100%, it'll get darker. If I move it like this, it's going to get brighter. Be careful though, if you get too bright, you start to hear the artifacts, and you don't want that. So let's go and change this so you can just hear what it does. So I usually don't like this too bright. I think at 0 it usually sounds fine, but if you want something a little bit brighter, like maybe the next example, you can move it up like this. I'll do it again. Okay, so I think that's good. I'll leave this at 0. Now the next thing you probably want to do is you want like some kind of bass amp or something on it. So let's just go into Guitar Architect here, and I'm not an expert on bass, so I'm just going to use one of the presets here. Have under bass. I don't need drive. This is clean tone. Let's try this one, jazzy compression. Hopefully it's not too loud. I'll go in the toolbar here, set the limiter just in case. So let's play through it now with Guitar Architect on. So as you hear, there's lots of different tones in there. You can go through and choose one that's good for you. You could use what fuzzy or modern metal, whatever you think sounds good on there. I just wanted to give you some options there. And let's try this on one more thing. I'm gonna turn this off for a second. We have the same thing here. I'll just bypass this too. And this is one I try to do kind of like a slap and pop example. I'm not an expert at slap and pop, so you have to forgive me, but hopefully this will give you another example of a different bass sound. Okay, so there you go. Now let's put MHarmonizer on this, and here's where I think the sharpness can maybe sound better. Okay. Now, sometimes, depending on the preset you're using for Guitar Architect, you might want to raise or lower the sharpness, but let's leave it there for now. It's fairly bright. We'll turn this back on, and we'll look in, let's say, clean tones first. Let's just go through a few of these. Okay, so I think that's sounding all right. Now, probably not the perfect bass sound. I'm sure bass players out there listening, that didn't sound like a bass, but I think for most cases, it will sound good enough, especially in a mix. So I can take that from this guitar sound to this type of bass sound, like this. So there you go. As always, I would say the most important thing is make sure you use high quality. The lower qualities will probably not sound as good, and you might get some artifacts. In fact, with this, if you turn the sharpness up too high, you might get an artifact. You probably want to make sure you're in tune too, because that might also cause artifacts. And always remember to use the format shift to just make sure you have things sounding how you want them to. This can really change the character of it, and make sure it sounds more like a real bass and not just something pitch shifted down one octave. So I hope this gave you some ideas of things you can do. I did this with guitar, but you could probably try this with other things too. I'm sure there's other things you can pitch shift down to create all sorts of maybe different instruments or maybe even new exciting instruments. So if you like this, give me a thumbs up. Be sure to leave any comments or questions down below and check out all the other plugins at meldaproduction.com. Till next time, see you.